Hello and welcome back. How are you guys doing? I hope you're all doing fine. I'd like to make two quick announcements. First of all, I'm so sorry about last week. I got a bit carried away with stuff and then I wasn't able to make a video. Second of all, my videos from now on are really just gonna be me sitting in front of the camera and ranting. So yes, they're gonna be pretty long and yes, they're gonna be pretty heavy. So I understand if you don't stay, but I can assure you something. If you do stay, you will definitely learn something. So, in my previous video, I mentioned that's just rape culture, everything that's flawed about it, but which inspired this week's video, as you guys can see as the title suggests. This week I'll be talking about how we have normalized rape culture. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stick around to find out. And without further ado, let's get on to the video. While the act of raping refers to unconsented sexual intercourse, rape culture refers to our cultural norms and practices that protect rapists, shame victims, and demand that women and girls go out of their way to avoid getting raped. How this culture is promoted is by blaming the victims, like, oh, he or she must have been asking for it, or defining manhood as sexually aggressive and dominant, defining womanhood as sexually passive and submissive, trivializing sexual assault by saying, oh, boys will be boys. This culture is also promoted when you pressure each other to score, when you teach women and girls to avoid getting raped, and worst of all, when you treat rape complaints as jokes or when you treat it lightly. That's how this culture is promoted. Now, as much as I want to say this culture only affects women, it also affects men, because it has brought about this stigma that only men can be sexual assaulters, when the truth is, you don't know who could be a sexual assaulter. So this mindset has brought the idea that men cannot get raped, and in the instance that they do, they seem as unmanly or weak, which is bad. Now, thankfully, in Malaysia, there are 13 laws that protect rape victims, which is great because it protects like women, married women, children, and it also protects in the case of incest, which is great. But the problem with that is there needs to be evidence, physical evidence that it was unconsented sexual intercourse, which means that there needs to be physical evidence of resistance. Now, you would think that in every rape situation, there would be evidence of resistance, but you are wrong. There are many reasons why there might not be evidence of resistance, some of which include when the survivors are scared, they may not have time to react or resist. When they're scared and they're stunned, they might not have time to resist. Or sometimes in the case of incest, when it's a family member and you least expect it and you're taken aback, then there might not be resistance. So clearly, it's so much harder for these survivors to have to prove that they were raped, and way easier if we would just end this culture. By end this culture, I mean we stop blaming the victims, start protecting the victims, and stop protecting rapists. And also, I don't mean victims, I mean survivors. Sorry, survivors. Yeah. So here are 5 things that we can do from now on to help bring this culture to an end, or at least to change it. First, we need to stop blaming the victim. No more, he was asking for it, or she must have been drunk, or she must have been wearing something that was revealing. Your clothes, your state of mind, your condition does not mean consent. It does not mean consent. If you do not hear a yes, it's a no. Okay? Second of all, we need to start redefining masculinity and femininity for the next generation. And we need to start educating them to treat each other as equals regardless of gender identity. 3, we need to start treating rape complaints seriously. Stop taking it as a joke. Do not invalidate the experience of these survivors. Instead, listen, be empathetic, and try to understand and try to see how you could help. 4, you need to stand up. If you hear somebody that jokes about rape or trivializes sexual assault, stand up and tell them that no, that is wrong. And most importantly, number 5, we need to stop educating women and girls on how to avoid getting raped, and instead we need to start educating people on how to respect each other's bodies and how to be respectful of each other's physical space. You need to always communicate. Do not assume consent. Okay? Now, I know some of you might say like, oh, this just seems like you're giving more excuses for people to complain and make fake accusations. Well, there are two ways you can look at it. One, you can look at it as people using this as a reason to like, an excuse to seek for attention, which is kind of sad if you would go to this extent to seek for attention. Or two, you can choose to understand that maybe because more people are educating themselves and other survivors are speaking up, it has provided a safer environment for other survivors to also feel comfortable enough to speak up about their experience and actually be heard for a change. So yeah, that's it for this week's video. I hope you guys enjoyed what you saw. I hope, as promised, I delivered and you guys learned something. Let me know what your thoughts are on this, on rape culture. Is there anything that I said that you agree with, disagree with, that you think is inaccurate? Please let me know. I'm also willing to learn. I'm willing to learn. If I've said anything wrong, please let me know. Please let me know kindly. This channel intends to spread awareness and love, so please be nice to me. Yeah, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Please follow me on my social media. Yes, I say that now. See you guys next. I hope you guys come back next week. You know you want to. Until then, bye.